Hello and welcome to what I believe to be, because it is 100%, episode 304 of the TEW to 808 Challenge Run. This is going to be Monday, week 1 November 2022 episode of Raw, and we now have, I think, 4 weeks. I think originally when I put the pay-per-view schedule thing up on the community page, I think I had Survivor Series listed as week 3. It's not, it's week 4 November. So yeah, just one small little change up was there. But yeah, Survivor Series, we saw the big announcement at One Night in Tokyo that the Shield X, 10 years of the Shield, the main event, War Games, I guess Roman Reigns' team against Seth Rollins' team. But we don't know anything from the Raw side yet. And a thing that I thought would be interesting, I'm not going to say good, because I don't know about it yet because I haven't done it. But, just to make Survivor Series stand out this year, instead of doing brand versus brand, I am going to, return to the original Survivor Series format. And I'm going to try and find stipulations to put on the line for all of them, but the entire show will be elimination tag matches. Just a weird thing, I thought, that'd be different to do that this year. Probably won't be happening every single year going forward, it's just the one thing I want to do this year. Because I have a lot of stables and a lot of, Survivor Series tag matches were naturally forming, and, I didn't want to book 4 on the show. So I was like, you know what, I can do that, let's just make that the whole gimmick, So, yeah. But without any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. Drew McIntyre. He opens up episode of Raw. Still the World Heavyweight Champion, of course, defended against Nakamura in Tokyo. And he says, wow, last night, long flight back home. In reality, it would probably be in... No, we can probably fly someone from Japan in, as long as we do it in, California or something. I guess that's not that short of a trip. Yeah. Yeah, well, Shinsuke earned my respect, I knew that he was one of the greatest we had here in WWE. I knew that he took it to a different level in that building. And I just about eked out on top. And I'll be glad to run it back with Shinsuke at any time, Hell of a lot of respect for that guy. But we move forward to our next challenger, Rest is stop as the champion, rest is for the weak, They always say that it's one thing to win the belt, another thing to keep a hold of it. And that is evidently true because you've got newcomers coming at every single corner. And I'll welcome to anybody who thinks they deserve a shot at my World Championship. Survivor Series and beyond. Survivor Series, New Year's Revolution, Royal Rumble, goddamn WrestleMania. So, who wants next? Come on, come at it and make yourself known. Sheamus comes out. And Drew's like, oh my god, what? He goes, fella, it's weird you're saying you would take on any challenger for that World Heavyweight Championship. But it's been, 3 weeks now. And I still haven't got my rematch for the title that I lost. I never got my rematch for because you moved straight on to Nakamura just to pop the Japanese crowd. And Drew goes, funny you say 3 weeks. That's how long you held this fucking thing for, so... Unlucky, buddy. I don't think that entitles you to a rematch. She goes, well, what about me kicking your head off there? Would that entitle me to a rematch for that title? And Drew goes, we'll have to see, Come on. Then out comes Montez Ford, of all people. And he goes, right, so... I know what you're thinking, Tez, You're a big fish in a small pond. You're leaping into the ocean, and you're struggling about getting, surrounded by bigger fish. But here's my situation. Dawkins last week. Dawkins stormed off last week after me and him and Ali failed in that 6-man tag team match against the Schism, because Dawkins has got his heart set on becoming Intercontinental champion. And, I'm not going to stand in my brother's way. Whenever we hear back from Dawkins, that's his title, he can go for that championship, but that doesn't mean I should sit back and just let him get all the success himself. If he's good enough to be champion, so am I. So I'm stepping up to you, Drew. When you defend your championship, put your money where your mouth is. Become that beacon of opportunity that you so desperately wanted when you were on the come-up. And you defend your championship against Montez Ford. Sheamus goes, who this fella think he is, What's he done to deserve a title shot? Then out come Andrade and Zelina. He's like, hey, Drew. And he's like, yes, hello again. Long time no see, Zelina, how you doing? She goes, oh, great, just great, Grand Metalik, he's here now. We've got a match with Sami Zayn coming up just next. And Legado de la Sombra is in for a big night. Because not only will Metalik prove he's the best by beating a former WWE champion, and their lad day here is stepping up and calling you out. Me and you and Andrade go way back. Back to my Mafia days, We challenged you for the WWE Championship back then. It's time to run it back, Drew, unless you're scared. And Drew goes, well, it has been a long time no see. It's been a long time since I kicked Andrade's head off. And I sure did love doing it back then. I'm sure I'd love to do it even more back right now. Because you two, look, you think you're taking over Raw. And taking over Raw starts with being the World Heavyweight Champion. Because you're not that, I'm that. So, here's what you're doing, Alexa. I hope your role is back there, because here's what's the plan. You three, triple threat main event tonight. I'll defend the World Heavyweight Championship in 2 weeks' time against whoever wins. Deal. So there's the main event. Sheamus, Montez, Ford, and Andrade in a triple threat match, where the winner gets a World Heavyweight Championship match against Drew McIntyre in 2 weeks. Before we get to the opening match that Zelina was talking about, though, we get a little shot of Going On record. It's Titus O'Neil, he's sat in a chair. It's like a reality show where Titus goes, Titus World Records, Titus World Records has been sitting on, resting on their laurels in quite recent weeks. We've got a star-studded lineup here, the greatest rappers in the game, Slim Shanky, R-Truth, Billy Kay. But we're always looking for an expansion, That's why we're filming Going On Record. So, Going On Record is the Titus World Records reality show where you can become a member of the hottest musical group here in WWE, Titus World Records. You can become stars alongside Slim Shanky, R-Truth, Billy Kay, and all them stars. And then it cuts to Billy sat on the reality show chair. He's like, what? Reality show? I mean, you got to be joking me. That's not how I got in. I think this is a good idea. I'm going to speak to Titus right now. This is not coming on through. And then Shanky's there. He's like, I think it's good, a good idea, I love reality shows. Then R-Truth goes, reality? I thought this was a fiction show, And I'm like, R-Truth. So, Titus World Records. This is blatantly ripping off, they just aired Making It Maximum in real life, the Maximum Male Models reality show. And as soon as I watched it, I was like, I need to book something like this, very similar to this. And Titus World Records seemed like the best thing to do it with. So here we are, keep it going on record with Titus World Records as they search for their latest recruit into the camp. 88 rated match. Holy shit, Grand Metalik got 89, Sammy got 73. Metalik carried the fuck out of this match. But, Metalik of Legado de la Sombra, Cruz and Joaquin and Raquel and Zelina are out there with him. Andrade not, because he's got a main event to prepare for. But Sammy wipes them all out of a dive or whatever. But then there's a run-in from Lince Dorado, who we thought was on SmackDown, but he's helped his old tag team partner win here tonight. Him and Cynthia Crespo they're both here. And Metalik beats Sammy in 11 minutes with the Metalik driver. 89 for Metalik, 73 for Sami Zayn. Here I was thinking, Sammy will carry Metalik to a good match. Nope, other way around. Then after the match, we have Death from Above, Legado de la Sombra, Zelina, Raquel, and Cynthia, all 4-on-1, I guess, because the women aren't getting involved in the brawl. Attack on Sami Zayn, they leave him laying, and Zelina welcomes Cynthia and Lince into the crew. So there's now 5 men, 3 women. Legado de la Sombra is growing its ranks. Backstage segment, Kevin Patrick's with John Morrison. He goes, John, another successful win last week. What's the future hold for Johnny Drip Drip? And he goes, well, that's a moist ask question, Kevin. I'll tell you what's on the future for Johnny Drip Drip. That's championship gold. You know, ever since I separated from that old friend The Miz, I've been struggling by myself, you know. Tried to think with Ziggler, but now he's gone a bit weird. So I want to stay away from him. But now it's Johnny Drip Drip's time to shine on his own. He's going to capture singles championship glory. That's why, Mustafa Ali, I'm calling you out next week. Me and you in a Continental Championship match. How about that, Drip Drip? And then Ali walks in, he's like, well, I don't know what's going on with Angelo, you know, or Tez, he's in the main event. But sure, I'm willing to defend my championship against anybody who wants a piece. So how about it next week, you're on. John Morrison, Mustafa Ali, Intercontinental Championship match. Set for next week's Raw. We then get a Finn Balor entrance alongside Gallows and Anderson. And he gets into the ring. And he goes, Regal thinks he has us all figured out. Regal thought that by stealing Ridge and when Santos moving over to SmackDown that the Balor Club was dead. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Because Balor Club is alive. Balor Club will not die. The club will not die. You remember my good brothers here. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. Now we're back. And you may have 5 of you over here on Raw. But there's more club members all across WWE. And because you're in the club for life. And then Gallows and Anderson have a quick squash tag team match against 2 fine young gentle sirs by the name of Michael Pemberton III and Arthur Perkins. They sure do enjoy fine games of, you know, spot of tea and all that. But Carl Anderson pins him, a magic killer, Arthur Perkins in 340. 63 for Carl, 56 for Gallows, 28 for Arthur Perkins, and a 17 for Michael Pemberton III. And then, yeah, the Good Brothers celebrate when out comes Regal and the rest of the coalition. And Regal goes, Finn, listen right up here, Sunshine. You didn't outsmart anybody. You know, here's the situation, Finn Balor. You don't want to get on the bad side of the Regal coalition because we have hands in a lot of pockets across the entire WWE. If you don't believe me, why don't you go check on all AJ? How he's getting up after Gunther chopped him and his hopes of becoming WWE champion right out of Tokyo, Japan last week. So, there stands 3 of you, there stands here 5 of us, and then we got the other 5 over on SmackDown. Finn, as someone who respects you and your craft, please don't do this. Please back down. Because, trust me when I tell you, it won't end well for the club. And Finn goes, well, I'm never going to back down from a fight. That's not what the club does, Regal, come on. And he goes, well, I do suggest that you get out of the ring right now because our girl Florence is in action coming up next, and that means we're going to need that ring you're standing in there, all to ourselves. And if you don't get out of your own, I'm afraid we're going to have to force you out. Balor goes, come on then, come do it. In fact, we'll get out by ourselves. And then they all leave the ring. And then they storm up the ramp and start brawling with the 4 men of the Regal Coalition. But, of course, they are outnumbered. And eventually decide it is better to just leave. Not because they're cowards, but because they're smart. I want to make that distinction. Like, babyfaces, sometimes they get done in by the fact that they can't really back away out of a fight. And, like, that's not necessarily true. Like, you're so clearly outnumbered here. Like, the smart babyface thing to do would be to, you know, reassess and regroup rather than rush in a manner that may be described as reckless and get your ass kicked, you know? So they they do get a couple of shots in, but then before they can get completely overwhelmed, then get them back away. Because I don't want to leave them laying, you know? I then imagine what happens is that segment airs, and then they go to the ring, the Regal boys do, and it says Florence in action next, and then we cut to the ads. But then when we come back from the ads, we get an interview with the female members of the grand jury. because Julia and Sonya are against Shida and Liv tonight. And they're talking about the match, and how Liv and Shida fucked them over, and they still never got their thank you, because Shida only got that match in Tokyo because they were in that 6-woman tag, and they won that. And then Rhea Ripley walks in, she says, I like you girls. Like, that's why I'm going to tell you this straight up, I didn't need your help in Tokyo. I could have defeated Shida all by myself. But I appreciate your brains. You're smart. You know who to associate yourself with, who not to get on the bad side of. And I also don't like Liv and Shida. So if you need, you scratch my back, it's only fair that I scratch yours. So if you need me to take care of anybody else tonight, then I'll do that for you. 69 for this match. Nice in more ways than one. Because Florence scored a 65, so she did the carrying, but it still scored good. Okay, anyway, Florence beats Wendy, 6-10 by submission. 39 for Wendy Chu, Florence with a 65. Yeah, just a fine women's match to get Florence a win on Raw here. We then cut backstage. Alexa's in her office, and in comes Brandy. She goes, "Bitch, I want an update." Alexa goes, "Well, good afternoon to you too, Brandy. So, you're clearly talking about, the Cody thing. The Seth, the Solo, that situation. So here's the thing, right? We know that Seth Rollins did not run down, or attempt to run down Adam Pearce." And then Brandy goes, "I'm not asking about Pearce, I'm asking about my husband." Alex goes, I know, I'm getting to that. But we saw Seth come out and he laughed at Pearce after that. We never saw Seth do the same thing to Cody. So Seth, as far as I'm concerned, is still a culprit, so you can't pin this all straight on Solo. Obviously, Solo's family, his dad did something very similar back in the day, which means that makes him kind of a likely culprit. But Seth, he's not cleared by any stretch of the imagination. And Brandy goes, "Oh, I don't care, just bring him all over here. I'll whip all their ass. I'll go all black bitch on them." And Alexa goes, No need to do that. It's fine. I'd rather not let those people come over to my show anyway. What you should do is, sit tight, keep your husband, get updates from him, and then see when he comes back, and we can sort it out from there. Okay? Because I've got a couple of important business calls to make. And then Brandy goes, "Bitch, you better sort this out, bitch. You're not gonna like the answer." And Alexa goes, "I'm sure I'm not. Now bye." So Brandy, of course, getting impatient, trying to find out who ran her husband down. We then get a interview with Liv and Shida, probably with Sarah, I guess, because we used Kevin for the other ones. Talking about the match with the Grand Jury girls, and then Sasha walks in. I heard what Rhea had to say, and if you need, I'll be at your side to counter Rhea Ripley and the other members of the Grand Jury. So if Rhea wants to make this a numbers game, let's make it a numbers game, bitches. Come on, it's boss time. So some little cliques forming already. Wonder what that's for. Speaking of cliques, Baron Corbin. He's walking through the hallways. He's still got stains. People are laughing at him because he got embarrassed by Minoru Suzuki last night. And Corbin goes, "Yeah, sure, laugh it up, Pretty sure Minoru Suzuki will whip your ass too. Okay?" And then Corbin's walking down a dark hallway when a spotlight appears. And then there's a briefcase on a steel chair. And Corbin looks at it and goes, "Ooh." And he approaches it. It says "For Corbin" on the label. And he takes it off like a little card and opens it up and he reads it. Obviously aloud because, plot convenience. And it says, "Dear Baron, we realise that you have been struggling a lot recently." And he goes, "Yeah, you don't say. Inside this crate's your anonymous helper, have decided to lend you $100,000 for me? And he opens the case up and he gets slimed. There's no money inside. And then all the lights in the hallway come on and everyone's just laughing at him. And he goes, "Oh, you think this is funny, huh? You think this is funny?" "I don't think it's funny." Karrion Kross and the Karrion Kross Cult walk into frame. "Who did this? Is this world not sick enough as it is? That you get by your sick kicks by kicking a man while he's down? Me and my cult here, we know a thing or two about being down. This world beat me down to the point of destruction, to where violence was the only answer. Trust me, you don't want Corbin to turn into one of us. So who did this?" And Corbin goes, "It says it's signed the Jokers." Karrion Kross goes, "Huh. Some jokers they are. Come on, kid. This world we ain't got enough time in this world to pander to stupid jokes like this. It's a miserable place out there. You're gonna need some allies." And Corbin goes, Are you inviting me into your crew?" And Karrion Kross goes, "Don't make me laugh, kid. There's only so many places going in this epic cult. But consider us allies in your war against the cruel dark world. And we're gonna find these jokesters together. Because now it is personal, kid." And that's how you know it's serious, you know? Karrion Kross saying it is personal. And he's got a lot of reason to hate whoever this jokester was that did this to Corbin. Oh! A 75 rated match. Ludwig, on his quest to find the special Saray pendant, defeats Young Sensei in 8:41 with a Regalplex. It gets a 75. Ludwig gets an 85, and Young Sensei gets a 34. And yeah. So Ludwig, I guess, carries Sensei to the best match of their life. And because I don't want him to feud with the anime boys, because the long-term future for Ludwig is beyond being a villain in the anime arc. So he will just, find the pendant or like online or whatever, and use the money that he got from selling Corbin's monkey to purchase one of his own to hang on. So it's a symbolic, It's not the actual Saray magical pendant, but it's one symbolic that he can hang in his lair that looks like, that's the physical embodiment of him beating the anime guys. We then get back to Alexa's office. She says, "Oh, it's all good. Great, I'm sure the ratings will soar, Very popular guys coming over to Raw, That'd be really big. I can't wait, It's going to be so fun. Anyway, that's it from me, okay? I got a show to run, okay? Bye." And then Dolph Ziggler walks in and goes, "Okay, are you good, hon?" And Alexa goes, "Yes, Dolph. Why?" She goes, "Well, don't know if you saw last night, my boys came up short in their opportunity to become the Raw Tag Team Champions against those scumbags, Path of the Dragon. And ideally, I want my boys getting another shot at the titles." Alexa goes, "Well, they're going to earn that. I'm not just going to give it to them." And Dolph goes, "Okay, well, they're free tonight. You got an opponent for them tonight?" Alexa goes, "I can find a team and you can have a tag team match tonight." And yeah, that's that. And she goes, "Cheers, babe. I knew you were great at your job." Alexa goes, "Don't push it." And Ziggler goes, "Oh, okay, babe. You don't have to put a show on. I know I'm the show off, but you're the show on by the looks of this." Alexa goes, "Whatever. Get out of my office." Oh my goodness. Who did I rate in this segment? Just Mackie, I believe. It got a 96. Holy shit. Anyway, we get a very sad Aiden English in the ring, and he goes, he's not got any melody in his voice tonight. Spotlight's on him, he's all sad. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's I, the Shakespeare of song, the bard of WWE, Mr. Aiden English. And I am here to I'm here to give up my beloved crown. You see, the WWE roster and the WWE Universe had so much taste to vote me the king of Battle of the Bands. But now, following my girl's tragic defeat, talk about a tragedy in the theatre of the most epic proportions, my girl's coming up short against the J-Flow at the one night in Tokyo. It is with sorrow that I must now hand this crown over to WWE's true Queen of Pop, Mackie. And then out she comes, complete juxtaposition. She's all happy, going, I, and sings her way down to the ring. And she gets into the ring, she's like, oh, gimme. And then he's like, up. First, the former king of Battle of the Bands, must say my piece before I hand over this beloved possession. He takes it off his head. He just stares at it and he goes, oh, crown, you to me were the validation I needed to continue my career here in WWE. You gave me the motivation to come back after 2 years away and guide Chelsea and Deanna to glory. I'm sure we may have hit a road bump. I'll never forget our time together. Mackie goes, gimme. No one cares. Gimme.
Toxic.
Toxic Attraction come out. And Manny goes, oh, yes, I know. We're SmackDown girls, but here's the thing, Heat is after Raw, and, us three, we're in action on that show. And, the Women's Tag Team Championships, they're not confined to any show. So, if I see them backstage being disrespected like this, then I'm going to pop up and say something. And quite frankly, honey, nobody cares about you being the Queen of Pop. Sorry, babe. They only care about you being a champion, which apparently you don't, because apparently a plastic crown means more to you. And he goes, shut up! And Mandy goes, I'm just saying, did I hit a little bit too close to home with that one, hun? It's okay. Maybe one day you'll be a big girl like us, and you'll actually care about being champions and winning stuff, but until now you can keep playing with the kids on the playground. Anyway, what became my hit is we see the disrespect to those women's tag team championships. They're not an afterthought like you thought they were, Mackie. They're more important. No one cares about this piece of crap. She takes the crown, stamps on it, crushes it under her heel, and Mackie gets all heartbroken. Even Aiden's sort of like, oh, but it's not his anymore, so he sort of doesn't care that much. And she goes, yeah, look, gone. No one's the queen, okay? I am. And these two are your next women's tag team champions. Fight me. Slaps Mandy. She goes, no. See, this show's already fully booked. I'm not here to fight you tonight. But my calendar's free on Friday if you want to come over to my show. Because you can. Because you're flirting with these tag team championships. But you've not come over to SmackDown yet during your entire reign. Because you're a coward. And Mackie goes, I'm not a coward, I'm Queen of Pop. See you there, motherfucker. Manny goes, okay. Oh, yeah. And then bang, Deanna and Chelsea jump on from behind. And them and Toxic Attraction beat down J-Flow. And then it ends with, Gigi and JC holding Mackie up, and then Mandy hits that big knee on her. And then they take the women's tag team titles, and Gigi and JC hold them up. So intentions are very much clear. And battle lines drawn. Mackie's going over to SmackDown to wrestle Mandy Rose on Friday. Oh, here's a segment and a half. The anime crew are backstage. And Sensei goes, I don't know what she's going to do, Saray, she's lost her pendant, we gotta try to get it back, we gotta try train, but we can't train because we're not at full strength right now. And Mandy Kun goes, look, sure, missing Dio's hard, but We don't know when he's going to be back. We don't know when we could ever hear from him again. And then the phone rings. And then Sensei goes, who's that? And Manny goes, oh, it's Dio. And he goes, you going to pick it up? And he picks it up and he goes, hello? And Dio's on the other end. He goes, Manny, how you holding it down without me? And Manny goes, not well. You know, we really need training. You know, this filler arc's been kind of painful. You know, I'd really like to get back to some actual important plot soon. And Dio goes, how's 7 days sound for you? And then Manny's in shock. He goes, so, a week? You're saying you're going to be back here next week? And then Dio goes, yep, skr. It's time for season 2, baby. Filler arc's over. Get your butts back in the gear. And he hangs up. And Manny goes, oh my god, did you hear that? And Sensei puts their arm around Manny and Saray and goes, guys, play the intro. And then the My Wrestling Academia intro plays as they walk off screen. Our boy is back next week. You know, his tour literally ends in 7 days' time. Our boy Dio Senpai back next week. And the filler season of My Wrestling Academia was officially over. They lost, you know, the big season finale was Sensei losing to Ludwig. But it's fine, nobody cares. 78 rated match. Julia and Sonya versus Liv and Shida. We have, I imagine, Scarlett at ringside with the Grand Jury girls. And Sasha would be there with Liv and Shida. And then Scarlett and Sasha would get into a brawl on the outside, taking each other out. And then Rhea Ripley runs out, you know. She said she was going to make a deal with them. They helped her, she'll help them. She wipes out Liv. And then Julia pins Liv off of the Riptide or whatever to score the win for the heels here. 73 for Sonya, 83 for Julia, 79 for Shida, and a 73 for Liv. And then we have 4-on-3. Rhea Ripley, she sort of gets into the ring alongside the Grand Jury girls and they all beat up Sasha, Liv and Shida. It's 4-on-3.
I'm on my own, against the wall. The pressure's building, but no, I will never fall. Instead of crying, they hear me roar.
Went out from the background's Bianca Belair. You know, she's been gone since, I think, the night after, or well, 2 nights after Clash at the Castle. For 3 weeks, basically. They took her leg out backstage with the crate or whatever before the 6-woman tag. And now she's back and she's got a hair whip for everybody. Scarlett gets one, Sonya gets one, Julia gets one. Rhea probably gets hoisted up for the KOD but manages to scavenge away and picks up the belt and then grabs a hold of the belt and Bianca goes, oh girl, what do you think you're doing with my title? You think you can get away with trying to take me out of the game? Girl, you gotta do better than that. No, you got a couple of friends here. You got a couple of friends. Well, I got a couple of friends by my side. Bitch. Oh, Bianca throwing the mic down. I was gonna have her say more there, but then I remembered that segment ended, and then we go to ads, and then we come back, and them four are walking through the hallway, and then Kevin Patrick walks up to him, and that's where Bianca's like, you know, this Rhea Ripley bitch, you know, she cheated against the EST back at Clash at the Castle, you know, took my championship away from me that I so desperately belongs next to me. But I'm gonna get that title back. Don't just worry about that, Kevin. But first, it's not just Rhea we gotta deal with. It's the rest of these Grand Jury hoes as well. So what you saying, girls? I see 4 of us, I see 4 of you. Why don't you go round yourself up a 5th member? I will round ourselves up a 5th member. I will see you at Survivor Series. Team Bianca, Team Rhea. Because our team will be the BEST in all of Survivor Series history. And then Sasha steps forward, she's like, that's legit. And then Liv and Cheeto were like, yeah, what she said. So actually, no. I'll hold off on what I was going to say until a later segment in the show. Speaking of later segments in the show, that segment comes up here. Tag team match, Emerson Frost against the infamous era, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong. They pick up a rebound win to the Grand Jury boys. 8:43 when Emerson Frost pins Bobby Fish with the Triple C. 60 for Emerson, 76 for Ken Cobain, 78 for Roderick Strong, and a 58 for Bobby Fish. And yeah, after the match, Ziggler takes the microphone and he goes, well, there you have it, you know. Still the greatest tag team here on Raw. Emerson Frost, Ken Cobain, the grand jury. Now, I know we came up a little bit short in Tokyo last night. It's fair, you know. It's okay. There's going to be some rough periods and some rough edges that need smoothing out during this whole grand jury change of regime, okay? But we can beat Akira and Humberto, you know? They're nothing compared to Emerson Frost and Ken Cobain, the future of WWE, the best tag team of today and of tomorrow. So what you at, Dragon Boys? Where's Big Zergus, Zaya, Humberto, Tozawa? Get your ass out here and let's make this damn thing official. Instead of Path of the Dragon, they get the Viking Raiders. We haven't seen the Vikings since, well, you know when. And they come out, they're going, raid, raid, raid. And Dolph goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Boys. boys. Look, I know Vikings aren't the most intelligent people on Earth, but do we have to spell this out for you? You are not a part of the grand jury anymore. Okay? Emerson, Ken Cobain, already seeing more success with these tag team than you two big idiots. Okay? So, I don't know what you're out here for, but you're certainly not who we called out. Okay? We've got no interest in that Viking crap anymore. Okay? Now, off you trot to the back, this is Dolph Ziggler's ring, DZ's camera. Okay, where was I? He turns back to the hard cam, and then they're like, Dolph, you got us all wrong. We're not here to, be a part of the new grand jury. We're here to perish it. Big pop. And Dolph goes, oh, isn't that cute, Damien? They're here to perish our new grand jury. You and what army?
You think you know me.
On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life.
Edge accompanies his big Viking friends. And Edge, he goes, you're good, Dolph. Me and you, we go way back. Even before I retired for the first time, I looked at you and I said, hey, this Dolph Ziggler guy, he's got what it takes to be the very best here in WWE. He's got all of the tools to be a top guy on Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania even. Which is why you doing what you did to the grand jury, it didn't shock me. You've always scheming some kind of plan like that, Dolph. And you're right, my group had hit a bit of a low. But I saw something like this coming. There's a reason why the Vikings, their loyalty was to me and not to the grand jury banner. The clearly priests where the loyalty was on. And he goes, I'm not surprised. Priest, he's got a knack for joining cults. He hasn't really got a mind of his own, does he? And then Dolph goes, whoa, this isn't about Priest. He's my loyal right-hand man now. You're just jealous because we outsmarted you, okay, Edge? Bye-bye, Adam. You're yesterday's news. Yes, here's the thing, Dolph. You may have got one up on me at the time, but I'm always thinking steps ahead of everybody. Dolph goes, oh yeah? How so? And he goes, well, when you kicked myself and the Viking Raiders out of the grand jury, you made your own group. And those two kids you brought in, Dolph, great additions, they're going to be top of the world one day. But let me think about this. You kicked out former Raw Tag Team Champions. You kicked out a WWE Hall of Famer. And that's it. You only kicked out 3 members of the grand jury. But as far as I can count, there used to be someone else in that crew.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Out comes Randy, and he stands side by side by Edge, and they bump fists, and Edge goes, "Well, it's good to have one of your bestest friends in the entire business be Randy goddamn Orton, because when you warn him of fishy business in your stable, and he takes that as a way to, get ahead of the game and leave the group." People, they don't look at that as anything special. They look at that as just Randy being Randy. He walks out on friends all the time. But it's not. See, Randy, the Vikings, and Edge, they're the grand jury's reckoning. And they storm to the ring. Big fight ensues. The Vikings take out Emerson Frost and Ken Cobain. Randy RKO's Damian Priest. Edge spears Dolph Ziggler. And then he grabs one of the mics that's on the floor in the ring and he goes, "Hey Dolph, the battle lines appear to be drawn. Grand Jury 1 versus your current Grand Jury." Randy takes the mic off him and he goes, "War Games!" Big pop. There's your other War Games match. I must address the big elephant in the room here. This does mean that I'm going to be doing 2 War Games matches and they are both men's. But it just felt right this year. Like, the two women's matches I've got brewing are 5v5s. So that felt better. And I feel like at this point, after the 2.5 years I've been here, it's not because, I've got no interest in doing a women's one. I feel like I've proven that enough that, it's just a case of I just thought these 2 men's ones would be better this year and make more sense. So, yeah. Grand Jury versus, I guess, Edge, Randy, and the Vikings, the old Grand Jury. At Survivor Series inside War Games. But, before we get to Survivor Series, we've got next week's episode of Raw, and it has a couple of big things on it. I'm not going to say it's a big one, because I say that every single week. But we start with an Intercontinental Championship match. Mustafa Ali, the Intercontinental Champion, defends this time against John Morrison. Johnny Drip Drip made a return a couple of weeks ago. He's picked up a couple of wins since then, but what does the future hold? Will he be able to become the most moist Intercontinental Champion of all time? We'll have to wait and find out. But the moment you're all waiting for, Dio Senpai back from his tour next week. Season 2 of My Wrestling Academia begins, with the entire main cast back once again. And after we heard the announcement of their 5v5 Clash of Survivor Series, Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville of the 2 teams will go one-on-one in singles action. I believe that's a rematch from summer 2021 SmackDown Women's title scene. Yeah. And also a major announcement. We're doing a big advertising episode next week. True TV's Impractical Jokers make their way over to Raw. Thanks, Emma. And we have the first match set for Survivor Series. It will be War Games. It will be the Grand Jury, Dolph Ziggler, Damian Priest, Emerson Frost, and Ken Cobain taking on Edge, Randy Orton, and the Viking Raiders inside 2 rings in the match beyond. In the first War Games, we did them last year, Connor. It's not the first War Games match on the main roster. But also announced for that show is a 5v5 match. It'll be Rhea Ripley team with Sonya Deville, Julia, Scarlett, and somebody to take on Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Liv Morgan, Hikaru Shida, and somebody. But we haven't got the graphic made for that because we don't know everybody that's in the match. Then a quick segment backstage. He's sitting down backstage in his locker room, ready to watch the main event, when Shinsuke and Boogs sort of walk up, and he goes, we heard the great things you had to say about Shinsuke Nakamura earlier on tonight, and we extend our respect back to you, Mr. McIntyre. We had a hell of a fight in Tokyo. And he goes, oh, that's great, do you want to sit back and watch this main event? And then Boogs and Shinsuke sit by Drew and they watch the main event. That's just a quick fun segment. And the main event that they watch is a 92 rated match that sees Andrade pick up the win. He pins Montez forward with a hammerlock DDT because, the Legado boys, Cruz and Joaquin attack Sheamus, and Lindsay and Grand Metalik attack Montez Ford, and it ends with Andrade hitting Montez Ford with the hammerlock DDT to score him the win. So he'll face Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship in 2 weeks' time. But the show then goes off the air with the Legados beating down on both Sheamus and Tez in a similar way they did to Sammy earlier on tonight. And then Drew McIntyre runs out from the back alongside Nakamura, and they take it to the Legado. They are outnumbered, but I would imagine once Cruz and Joaquin take a Claymore and a Kinshasa, they'd sort of just back away with the Legado. So hey, we've got what we wanted, we've got a title match. And then they help Tez to his feet, and Tez is like, yeah, sup fam, respect. And then Drew helps Sheamus to his feet. He looks down at Sheamus. Sheamus looks back up at him in disgust. Drew just shakes his head and offers a hand out to him. And Sheamus looks at it and confused and looks back up at Drew and just shakes his head again and rolls out under the ring and walks through the crowd. But Drew, Shinsuke and Montez Ford, though, are standing tall as the Legado sort of just backed away we're not running away, we're just... Our work here is done. Business is business. Job done. All that shit. The show then gets us a 92. We take those to the bank, I believe. And now we must pause for Heat. We start off Heat with a Toxic Attraction promo. Just them going over what happened on Raw. You saw us make our impact. And now we've got Mackie versus Mandy on SmackDown this week. And how, the championships are being wasted, being around the waists of little girls. And it's time to put them finally around the waist of some real women. And these 3 girls wouldn't know what it's like to be champions either. And it's just 3, developmental / local competitors. Madeline Fields, Lavender Sky, and Julie Jacobs. Mandy pins Madeline with a bed of roses in 7:54. 44 for JC. 65 for Gigi, 67 for Mandy, 38 for Julie, 46 for Lavender, 26 for Madeline. And yeah, just a quick squash win for Toxic Attraction, and a showcase for 3 regens. 68 rated match. I didn't set a winner here. Indy Hartwell has, I guess, for the time being, sort of just soft, been relegated to Heat duties while Sasha has other friends. Because I had too many baby faces to put Indy on the babyface team. So, yeah, just forget that Indy exists, I guess, until I'm ready to put her back with Sasha. Yeah, but Naomi wins with a split-legged moonsault. 66 for Naomi, 68 for Indy. 63, that's actually not bad, considering Ivy and Tatum are in it. Tag team match here. Smile and Shine pick up the win over Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Tegan pins Tatum with a Vulture Culture Destroyer. 72 for Tegan, 63 for Kylie Ray, 33 for Tatum, and a 43 for Ivy. They don't normally wrestle a lot, they just stand up behind Alexa a lot. And that's slowly getting their popularity up. But the only way they're going to get better is by wrestling, even if they are losing, so it's fine. They're not a dominant tag team, I don't need them to be unbeaten. Then a 62 rated main event, kind of a meh episode of Heat this week, because Candice wasn't on Heat duty. She's actually got important stuff to do on SmackDown. So, Ruby Riott, I guess, stepped in as the main event Heat draw, but I didn't want her to beat Doudrop. So Doudrop beats her in 13 minutes with a Michinoku driver to end the show. For a 63, yeah, it's Heat, it doesn't really matter that much. What matters more is what you thought of Raw, mainly. So do let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown. See you then.